Mama's in the living room watching Judge Judy. I'm in the kitchen eating leftover sushi, and she yells, "Oh, girl, you gotta hear this one." A man was arrested for running a theme park, and when they said, "Where's your license?" he said, "My dog ate it." Oh, you can't make this shit up. Sometimes I wonder if life's just one big cosmic joke. It's like she's on a Reddit, reading r/funny lawsuits, yelling from the couch. As she sips on a Prosecco, makes fun of all the weirdos, and then I hear her shout. It's like she's on a Reddit, reading r/funny lawsuits, yelling from the couch. As she sips on a Prosecco, makes fun of all the weirdos, and then I hear her shout, "Girl, you gotta hear this one." Mama loves to laugh at how absurd life is, says it's all a comedy and I'm her audience. And I love the way she makes fun of the world. She said, "You'll never guess who's with their girlfriend. It was a man who didn't get us out of the bed. He said, I've been through hell and now I need some help. You just can't make this shit up. You just can't make this shit up." Sometimes I wonder if life's just one big cosmic joke. It's like she's on a Reddit, reading r/funny lawsuits, yelling from the couch. As she sips on a Prosecco, makes fun of all the weirdos, and then I hear her shout. It's like she's on a Reddit, reading r/funny lawsuits, yelling from the couch. As she sips on a Prosecco, makes fun of all the weirdos, and then I hear her shout, "Girl, you gotta hear this one."
Someone ended up on a runway in one of the busiest and largest airports in America. How did this happen? Today, I'm not a pilot, as you know. I do have a background in aviation, both civilian and military, and have a large aviation presence in military and civilian in my family. However, I am not going to break this down like a pilot. I am curious on policies, procedures, background. How did this happen? Why did this happen? And I'm going to do something that I never do on this channel. I am going to give y'all a trigger warning. Tonight's stream discusses a fatality in an aviation accident, and we may discuss some difficult topics, including self-deletion by airplane. Please, if that triggers you, this might not be the stream for you, or please protect your mental health. I usually don't give trigger warnings with my streams. However, I have thoughts on this. I have worked at a civilian airport. I grew up around an airport. I know how easy it is, if you want to breach the perimeter of an airport. And we're also going to talk about the passenger experience, what it's like to be a passenger with your stuff left behind, and what happens after that, and if anything can be enhanced. Because yes, this is a tragedy, but this is also a learning experience. And we can take the information that we get and we can do two things. We can process it and just move on about our day and go about the status quo, or we can learn from it and hope to change things in an effort to not have this happen again, or if it does happen again, do better in some aspects. So we are going to look at the incident itself from the pilot's perspective with the audio. Then I have a Reddit story, and this is from Reddit, so take that with a grain of salt, from a passenger experience on what happened and their view. And then we're just going to have a discussion, because this is another maybe mental health crisis, and self-deletion by airplane, which is a new way to go. I'm just saying. If you Personally, I have never worked at Denver Airport. However, I did work for the airline in question. And I have personally sent at least 6 pairs of sunglasses in an Airbus 319 to Denver and never got them back. So there's that. How is everybody doing today? Oh my goodness. Yeah, my luggage is always left behind. Well, you have something about you that restaurants and airports do not like you. Hey, Janet, how are you? Tammy, good to see you. SMN, Kerbless, I know you're lurking. Hopefully you're doing well today. Papa Squid in the house. Jeffrey, good to see you. Hopefully you were number 1 or number 2 in here. Heidel, I think, beat you. And I do have the QR code. I finally got it right this time. To my second channel. We are doing a live there tomorrow. I love that channel. That is my my passion project. That is my degree. What I went to college for. My passion in life. And hopefully y'all can join me over there and we can all learn something together. And I'm sorry if I miss you. We have a lot to get into. And yeah, so I don't actually know what happened quite yet. The situation's still evolving. The NTSB is obviously still investigating. However, in my opinion, if you're not an airport employee and you are not a passenger, the only way to get on to airport property is to climb a fence. With that being said, generally, perimeters of airports are a fence with barbed wire and a camera. Not unbelievably difficult to breach if you really want to. Just saying. And Denver is huge. It is a massive airport that is not anywhere near Denver, the city center itself. It has a massive amount of space. They thought ahead so they could expand without having to buy more land, knock down houses, anything like that, like a lot of places. So I might need to mute myself. I keep wanting to put in inappropriate messages regarding the guy. Well, please, yeah. 8-foot fence, barbed wire on top. Yeah. So fences should be electrified. Well, yeah. You really went there. You should bring up the night video in this stream. It's available. I will give it a shot. And this is evolving, so we will see what we got. And this is the downside of doing things on my laptop and then coming over to this computer. Coming over to this computer and doing finding things. But I am not going to analyze this like a pilot would, because I am not a pilot. Yes, I have an aviation background, but it is as avionics. It is not. But I do have experience with things getting sucked into engines. We are going to, and this is from Vaz Aviation. If you don't follow that channel and you are into things like audio and ATC, anything like that, I will drop the link for that channel in the description. And I'm sorry, I just got home from the gym, so I'm tired. I also have been up since 5 a.m. and spent 3 hours this morning, starting at 6:30, rearranging my garage. So we're a little exhausted today. Exhausted. And this was an Airbus A321. It is a rather large plane, and I have to make sure something else happened. And I don't know if what YouTube did, but it added this audio track thing today. I had never seen this on my YouTube settings before, but somehow I turned on YouTube this morning and all of my videos were in German. So I had to figure out that this suddenly showed up and had to change it back to English. So that added just a little stress when I'm trying to show a video and all of a sudden everybody's talking in German. This right here, VAS Aviation. I have it right here. I'll drop it into the chat.
Frontier Flight 4345 Denver, RNF to Go Rock, runway 17 left, clear for takeoff.
RNF Go Rock 17 left, clear for takeoff, Frontier 4345.
And you can see, so you can see right here, just this is Denver's airport. And this is one thing I love about this channel is he always makes sure that he puts the layout of the airport. You can see just, they're not even close to the terminals. And look where the runways are. They are far out.
Dollar, Frontier,
And you can tell they know what happened, but they don't really understand what just happened. Not something you expect to happen, running over a person.
Tower Frontier 4345, we're stopping on the runway. We just hit somebody, we have an engine fire.
Frontier 4345, I see that.
We just hit somebody. Not we just hit a vehicle. Not we hit a bird. We had a bird strike. We hit somebody. I mean, that's not something that happens every day. And commend these pilots because you could tell that they were on the verge of panic mode. There was some definite panic in their voices, and they kept that shit under control. Yeah, not a fire engine ran into us. Yeah, let's not even get started on that one. This is pure chaos. What, like, I wouldn't even know what I would do, be it I'm not a pilot, so you can throw that one right out the window. But, and the fact that they have an engine fire is very, very telling. Because if you hit somebody and all of a sudden you have debris, and an Airbus A321 is a rather large aircraft, very high off the ground. The only thing that is lower to the ground is the engines. So the only thing that you would realistically hit somebody with is landing gear or engines. And the fact that they had an engine fire, you can do the you can use your imagination on what happened. Would you like to call your father? There you go. Yeah.
Tower Southwest 2921, left base for 165.
What do you mean who did the hitting? The aircraft was on its takeoff roll, getting ready to take off, so speeding up to takeoff speeds. And this was an aircraft with 321 people on board. And yeah, it all of a sudden they have an engine fire because they hit somebody. in the middle of the runway. Generally, that's not where people are supposed to be. And if there are people out there, they're in a vehicle. They're not just walking on the runway like they're out for a Sunday stroll. Did the individual jump at the individual? I don't know exactly where they were when they saw the plane coming. This was also at night or late in the afternoon, so it was getting dark and not able to be seen. Come on.
Skywest 5612, just hold your position. Skywest 5627, just hold your position.
Skywest 5627.
Southwest Frontier 4345. I'm going to be rolling the trucks now. Can you know the souls on board and fuel remaining?
All right, 4345. We have 231 souls on board. We have 21,320 pounds of fuel on board. There was an individual walking across the runway.
Okay, we are rolling the trucks down.
Walking across the runway. That's
Op 7 runway 17 left. 231 souls. We're rolling the trucks now.
Sorry, I know you're busy. Southwest 2921. Are we cleared to land? 16 left.
Southwest 2921, yes, sir. Runway 16 left, full land.
Cleared to land. 16 left. Southwest 2921.
and they have more than one runway, so.
We've got smoke in the aircraft. We're going to evacuate on the runway.
Okay. We're having ops and emergency vehicles going all the way now. Op 7, they're about halfway down the runway, 17 left. They're evacuating the runway, the aircraft on the runway.
But you can see just how professional these I mean, you gotta go with. I have heard about this guy. A guy was trying to get his plane, got through an unlocked door, ran down the runway. The thing about it is, you just it's so weird, because.
Ew.
Yeah, this right here.
No.
This is what makes me think, and this is where we're kind of just gonna have a discussion.
Mommy, it's her daddy.
No, that's Grandpa. That's Grandpa.
Hi. Mommy, down.
Yeah, yes, down, up. I know, girl. You gotta make a decision. This is definitely weird. And the video of the night vision has come out. I just have to look it up. The co-host runs off again. Yeah, she's rather inconsistent and sometimes inconsiderate of my feelings and what I think and stuff like that. You know, it's just. But this is. We are going to, and this is where things are kind of happening on the fly. And hey, Alfie, how are you? Good to see you. So I wanted to have a whole like production and have things set up and like have a script for this video. And then the more I got to thinking, the more it was like, this just needs to be a conversation about safety, the passenger experience, the pilot experience, because I read a couple of things on Reddit, and take it with a grain of salt, it's Reddit. People may not be telling 100% the truth there. People just go there to complain a lot. However, when I was reading some things, the fact that things can be improved, not only from, and this is where it gets very difficult to talk about and keep my monetization. So I apologize if I'm stumbling over my words. On replay crew, if you're not one of my normal people and you're on replay crew, this is a live stream. I'm interacting with my chat. This is not a scripted video, so things are just speaking from the heart. Yeah. Aha! Thanks, Papa Squid. I have to go into my the actual chat. Control room, don't let me down. Hey, look, control room didn't let me down. Thank you, Dad. My dad's awesome. If he sends me a link right now to my phone, and this is one of the reasons my dad's a mod, so he can drop links. Just stopped by to say hi. I've been off the net for a few days for my own mental health. Timothy, you know how to get a hold of me if you need me. We're practically neighbors, you know. Just say the word, you know where to find me. So, and yes, Bossy Mod says do all the things. If this is stuff you're interested in, having difficult conversations and how we can not only learn from them from all sides, how we can be better as people, and we can be better as a society to make this a little bit better of a situation. So we're going to share this tab. I'm going to add this back. When Papa Squid does something, that is for damn sure. For damn sure. All right. But he'll send something to my phone, and y'all can see I obviously don't have my phone because somebody stole it. Yeah, he sent it to my phone. I saw it on my computer, but putting it in the chat works too. And hey, Stats, how are you? So we are going to get bad.
Flight Friday night on a runway at DIA.
Security footage shows him jumping an airport fence and heading to the runway before being hit. The medical examiner has ruled his death a suicide.
Oh yeah. Oh, that plane too. So if you guys don't know Frontier, they have a animal on every plane. It's kind of a joke. It's kind of like, you know. However, damn. So you can see if we back it up, we're not going to show it, but you can see where he they don't show it either, but you can not the same person. Just read the article. This is the man was hit and killed on a Frontier jet at Denver DIA on Friday. So that's the same person. So that is that's Denver's airport. I saw that, Dad. Thanks. So this image right here is the same person. This article, it's not really an article. It's the video from their local news. So yeah, this was Friday. So the headline to the video is man who was hit and killed by a Frontier jet at Denver International Airport on Friday died by self-deletion, an official from the Denver Medical Examiner's Office said Tuesday. So this was released yesterday. This happened on Friday. So this is the same incident. Oh. Hey, Wisconsin, how are you? You saw a video that you wish you had not seen? Yeah, this is this is one of those situations where if someone's going to, and this is the problem, and this is where I'm going to be judged for this statement. Oh, I mean the one who I was thinking he got through a locked door and got on the runway. Yeah. And there are airports where people will like smaller planes will board with a set of stairs. So you will actually walk out on the tarmac and go, which if you're not following the line and your flight attendant and your gate agent are not keeping an eye on you, it is very easy to get away. I've witnessed kids trying to run away from their parents while boarding an aircraft like that. However, if someone is going to self-delete, 9 times out of 10, if they're going to do it, they're going to find a way. However, is it possible to make things a little harder for them? And I'm not going to bullshit you. Self-deletion by Airbus is definitely a new one. That's the other thing. That is the, and I don't mean to laugh, but I'm not laughing at the man for trying to, or for taking his own life. That is not funny at all. The interesting part about it and the things that make you go, is he went all the way across the runway and got hit by the right engine. Weirdly enough, I have to go get the little off of the, toddler stuff. All right, we will I will have to get going in a minute or two. We are still working. The man was not completely ingested by the engine. Well, if you've ever actually seen an engine, it is okay. Those intakes are large, but if it's moving, so it's not like if it's still and you get too close to it and you get sucked in, because that can happen. I've personally seen flight deck video of someone getting too close to an intake, and yeah, that's one of the things they show you of you should be scared every day when you step foot to do your job because you could die. This is one thing they tell you, and they show you video of it to make sure that you aren't stupid. However, when a plane is moving, the plane was at rest when this person was sucked in. This is moving. So the physics of it, I can see not being completely torn apart by the engine, but still being very, very difficult to lots of pieces. We'll just put it that way. Hello, everyone. Driving home from work. Glad you're home safe. I boarded one of those before. It was the weirdest feeling, following that line around the back of the wing to the airport. There was a passenger who was in a wheelchair, so we were leaving. Yeah. This is one of those, high bypass engines are a thing. And this is where Mr. Squid will be much better of a knowledge than me, because he has his A&P. I do not. He was structures. I was not structures. I was avionics. So I was radar, radios, that kind of thing. He was boom booms and structures. So the physics of it, I just say toddler stuff because we're going through. She can do some things by herself and can't do others. So she will call me when she's done. Yes. Mama duties are active at any time. Please hold and wait. If there's an issue, report it to the focus team. For those of you who are new to this channel, focus means fuck off because you suck. The emergency crews quickly found they were diving down the runway, used fingerprints to identify the man quickly. That's interesting. The physics of it is just, but it does lead to multiple things. One, I have not actually looked up the numbers on how many people breach airport fences on a yearly basis. I have not heard of anybody who actually does self-deletion by airplane before. However, there's a few things that this brings up, and one of the reasons that I wanted to talk about this is, one, I do aviation stuff because it's ingrained in my past. I grew up in my grandparents' house was literally like on the same road as the airport. I worked at an airport. I worked at a floating airport. My mother worked in aviation. My spouse works in aviation. Like, aviation is ingrained into who I am. Plus, I am very familiar with this airline, specifically this airline. And although I've never worked at this airport, like I said, I have sent 6 pairs of sunglasses to Denver in an Airbus 319 cargo. I attached them to the cargo net and they went to Denver. This is why I don't do expensive sunglasses, because I leave them places. I send them on cross-country trips without me. Like I said, I've only been to Denver a couple of times flying through there, never worked there. However, I am very familiar with certain aspects of Denver's airport from a logistical standpoint. There are thousands of breaches every year at airports, which also begs the question, but how many are for self-deletions? How many are a security risk? And why is an airport just a 8-foot fence with barbed wire? I remember as a kid, there was no fence in a certain area on airport property, and it was on a hill, and we just climbed up on the hill, sat there, and almost like we didn't have a picnic, but we could have, just watching airplanes come in and land. Probably not the safest thing I've ever done, but you can blame my father. And he will take the blame on this one, I hope. But that wasn't even an 8-foot fence. That fence was like knocked over, buried under some brush, grown over, and airport security never bothered to fix it. Be it this was back in the 90s, before security was a huge deal like it is now. However, I don't know. I didn't look at the names of the pilots and I didn't recognize the voices, but you know, who knows at this point? It's been 15 years. You know? Yeah. Why is it so easy to breach an airport? After everything that this country has gone through as part of airport security, and if airport security has become such a big risk, why is an airport so easy to breach? So yeah, my mom is very familiar with a lot of pilots that fly for this airline for a reason. So, you know, I had a code to drive right on the taxiway. I've driven on taxiways before, but like, you know, I've had a reason to drive on taxiways because I worked there. It's a little different because when you work there, you've gone through security clearances to get there. Yeah. I mean, I live by an airport now, be it a very small one, but it's still not super secure. And it just, if we are so worried about security in this country, why is that not something we're worried about? So that was aspect one of the questions, the many questions that I had. And on this channel, you know, I don't have all the answers for things. I just ask questions and try to elicit conversations that sometimes are a little uncomfortable, but I believe need to be had, and you won't hear in the mainstream media. Secondly, if someone is going to self-delete, they're going to self-delete. You're not generally going to stop them. However, should this person or should mental health care in this country be better and easy to access? Had he tried to get mental health care and was at the end of his rope? No pun intended with that one, that, you know. And I have to go do mama duties, be back. Security Airport was aware of the man and a pack of deer outside the fence. Most commercial airports have motion detectors. Well, if they were aware, why weren't they doing anything about it? You were outside of a fence one time, and you got people following you because you were outside of a fence. Yes, it's Grandpa. So it's just because you're aware of it, should you be doing more? These are questions that are not in my pay grade to know the answers to, but I am curious. And I have a very small platform, but I have a platform nonetheless, and I'm going to ask questions because I'm nosy like that. And that's what we do here. I just ask questions because that's what I do. I ask questions and I get nosy. The other aspect of talking about the mental health, and this is not just him. This is a up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Should access be easier, and why are we not helping people? And basically, people are hiding behind the fact that they have mental illness these days, and it irks me. So, should he have been better helped or helped at all and never should have gotten to this point? Also, it's the fences are never electrified, I'm just saying. So with all the cutbacks of late, I'm sure there was no one available to check out. There's been a problem with this is not new. This cutbacks be damned. This is not a monetary problem. This is the people problem. Staffing at airports has been a problem for a long time. It's not new. Staffing at airports has been a problem since I worked at the airport, and that was a long time ago. So, yeah, yes, the distance to the terminal. This is one of the airports that, if you've ever been to Denver, the distance between the runways and the airports or the terminals are significant. They built this almost like they built it in a way where they could expand without having to, like I said at the beginning, buy more land, knock down houses. They planned ahead, it appears. There are rumors and things that there's nefarious stuff under the airport. I don't know. I don't buy into any of those conspiracy theories. Y'all can do that if you want. So, okay, let's be honest. No one gives a damn. Well, and that's the thing. It's like, why are we so jaded as a society? Denver has the best break room. I have never been, well, I've been to Denver a couple of times, but only as a non-rev passenger. I've never actually been, So but the third thing is there's this. So this is from in aviation subreddit from that goat 9791, the passenger experience of a Frontier crash. Take this as a grain of salt. I have no idea if this is actually real because anybody can put anything on Reddit. It's not all vetted. It's not vetted. So Jimmy Hoffa has to be somewhere. I got this feeling this guy was waiting on this plane. So based on the aircraft that was behind it, this was the largest aircraft. An Airbus A321 with 320 people, and 230 people, 230, compared to a SkyWest jet. SkyWest is a regional carrier. SkyWest operates, so SkyWest used to fly for things like Midwest. They do regional hops. So they'll do, like, in Wisconsin, they would do like Milwaukee to Madison, Milwaukee to Green Bay. They would do Georgia, for example. They would do Atlanta to Augusta, Atlanta to Savannah. Those major airports to smaller cities that can't handle huge airports or don't have a lot of nonstops. However, this is the biggest aircraft. Go. SkyWest. So based on the plane that was behind it and the plane that was landing, this was the largest aircraft. If you're going to try to do something like this, you're going to use the biggest aircraft. So I don't necessarily know if he was waiting for this specific aircraft. He might have been waiting for a big aircraft. Shush. So this person wrote, and the little is having a moment. There would be AI redundancy systems that can call attention to human error, being able to survey the ground and air travel, calculate velocity, trajectory factors. You know, well, that's a you problem. I'd love to share a bit about my experience on flight 4345. I was in seat 5C. First of all, and I know this is small, welcome to Reddit. That's all I can do. Pilot was incredible, so fast to put the fire out, talk to ATC, communicate with flight attendants, and got us off the plane. His fast, clear decision-making was certainly a reason we're all safe. I sent a message to the Frontier complaint compliment inbox this morning, and I hope it gets to him. Thank you for knowing there were 231 souls on board, not 230. That one is the infant I'm holding on my first Mother's Day. I have to go. My little is having a meltdown. Be back soon. Mama mode engaged.
Streaming live from the corner glow. Camera on, but the pace is slow. Little hands tugging at my sleeve. Mama's world, it never leaves. One sip of coffee, one deep sigh. I hit pause, no need to ask why. Mama's on pause just for a while. Grab a drink, hold that smile. Bathroom break, life in a Sadie's. Be right back. My daughter needs chats alive, the comments roll. The tiny footsteps steal the gold. Toys scatter like a masterpiece. Mama duties never cease. One quick hug, one quick peek, a little snack and she's unique. Mama's on pause just for a while. Grab a drink, hold that smile. Bathroom break, life in a Sadie, just be right back. My daughter needs
What do you need one, Eric? Wardrobe change. Oh my goodness. You're okay. We needed a wardrobe change. We had an accident. It's okay. At least there are no more rage quitters. People that have no patience for mama duties. Yeah, yeah. I also have people commenting on like 2-year-old videos saying, you need to do this, you need to do this. Like, hello, you realize that was like my first YouTube video, right? So, yeah. So this was her first Mother's Day. Thanks for thinking so quickly and handling this situation with such clarity. You saved us, and I'll be forever grateful. When the crash happened, my daughter and I had just fallen asleep on my chest. I had dozed off. There was a big impact and some loud booms, and the engine ignited. My first thought was, oh my God, we're in a crash. And then, okay, we're on the ground. We're not falling. My baby's okay. We just need to get off the plane. I'm a middle school teacher and busted out my most aggressive teacher voice and maybe some expletives. I mean, I would have too. At the people in the first few rows that were trying to get their things out of the overhead bin. This is an important thing to take. That phrase right there is important because when you read later down into this, there are some people that I'm like, you need to do better. And also, NTSB, you need to do better. And I'll get to that. Because there are some things that not even I realized. If this is true, we have to take it with a grain of salt because it is Reddit. However, as we got to the front, I asked the flight attendant how to slide with my baby. She said to put her on my lap and jump, so we did. The slide's so fast, and the flight crew were telling us to help each other not to skid to the ground. I believe there were a couple minor injuries from falling off the slide. I was the only parent traveling with an infant, and one of the only passengers who actually followed the flight attendant's instructions not to take our bags with us down the evacuation slide. My only thoughts were to get my baby off the plane and fast so everyone behind us could get off. While my fellow passengers were passing time on their computers, charging their phones, changing into clean clothes, my daughter and I had to fight to receive diapers, wipes, and formula in the airport while we waited for updates. She had to sit in a dirty diaper for hours as the Denver crew searched the airport and ended up finding a few old-looking diapers that we used. It took longer to get wipes, formula, and we never got a baby bottle, though they found us an old sippy cup we washed and used. Ugh. Yes, but there's something interesting that I didn't take into account. There's some interesting stuff that I didn't take into account. I get you got to leave stuff behind, but I have a child who's terminal, so his meds would be in that bag. I'm sorry, I'm taking the bag. That's a good point right there because there's some interesting things that when I read this, I'm like, we really do need to do better. As a airline industry, we need to do better because it's not leaving your things on the plane when you have to evacuate. Totally understand that. It's okay. The plane, I understand, needs to be investigated. However, there's things. There was a type 1 diabetic on the plane who left behind her insulin, and the EMTs didn't have insulin on hand. Weird. We stood in lines at Denver Airport for hours to get accounted for and provide our information about bags left on board. Frontier apparently refunded our flights, still waiting, and issued us a $500 flight credit, as well as put us on 6 a.m. flights to our original destination, LAX. Unfortunately, my car and house keys, wallet and ID, medication, car seat, and diaper bag are all on the aircraft. I bought a new car seat, some baby essentials, and a phone charger, and I'm hoping I can get Frontier to reimburse me. I was supposed to fly out of LAX to go home to Michigan tomorrow at 6 a.m., but have not heard anything from Frontier about receiving our personal items. I had to spend 4 hours this morning being truly a pain in the butt to 9 different customer service agents and supervisors to get any sort of response that was reasonable. I just needed to move my flight to tomorrow morning until after I receive my car seat, keys, wallet, and medication, which sounds like it will not be until Tuesday at the earliest. I totally understand there being an investigation into the plane. I completely understand not being able to take your bags with you when you are evacuating because you do not know how much actual time you have or if something will happen to that aircraft. However, there is a communication issue there needs to be better communication between the emergency procedures and the after procedures between flight crews, emergency crews, gate agents, customer service reps on the phone who are sitting in an air-conditioned room talking on the phone with you, and the NTSB. On somebody needs to go through and remove baggage that is not part of your investigation and get these personal belongings back to people. Nobody on that aircraft is an active part of this investigation. The investigation is about the outside of the plane, the fire, and the cockpit. Why is it taking 4 days at this point to get personal items off of a plane when you told people not to take anything with them, including keys, wallets, cell phone, medications? And that goes back to this right here. And not necessarily your comment here, but your comments in general on this topic. The shock of what happened would have triggered my child to seize. I would have needed the med bag immediately. And that's totally understandable. Unfortunate, but understandable. But it's like they're just, and this, when I read this, it kind of changed. Like I said, I wanted to have this structured, hey, let's do this, let's talk about this, let's talk about this. And when I read this from a passenger, and it kind of was like, what can we do better? Because from a customer service perspective, I understand people not being able to take their bags. I get it from a safety perspective. However, these people had nothing to do with somebody running out on the runway. And why is it taking them at a minimum, this happened on Friday, this past Tuesday, to get their bags? Such as medications for the type 1 diabetic. Baby stuff. Baby stuff is expensive. And you can't just, not everybody has the means to just, oh, I'll just go buy another car seat. It is just a, not, okay. Okay. I'll be real honest with you. You're a dude. Look at the size of your pockets, and then look at a woman's jeans, and look at the size of her pockets. So I get it for you, and that might work for you. But not everybody is you. I can't fit my keys in my jeans pocket. Shit don't work. I can't fit my wallet, and I have a very small wallet. I still can't fit that shit in my pocket, especially with my big old butt. Like, yeah, the airline should do, and it's not just the airline. See, and this is the, like, it's not just the airline. It's the communication between multiple parties. Because the NTSB, once that plane is evacuated, the NTSB technically owns that plane now. Until they are done with that plane, the NTSB has possession of that plane. And it's almost like a crime scene, if you will. Nothing can be touched on that plane without the permission of the NTSB. However, why is it so difficult to provide people with their personal belongings? Because Gotta Love Me, I'm just going to use you as an example because you have specifically said it. So Gotta Love Me said that her child would have had a seizure. If I didn't have the medications and my child had a medical emergency because I wasn't allowed to get my medications for my child, I'd be suing the airline. I'd be suing the NTSB. I would be suing whoever told me that I could not get that. If you had an employee who said, no, you're not allowed, your name is going on that lawsuit. I would be sue happy because that is not just I don't like your opinion. That is now a safety problem. So in trying to be safe on one end, you're causing a safety risk on the other end. Where's the middle ground? Yeah, this also right here. Identification that you generally need to board another plane. It's a very, yeah. Once it's known that the baggage can be retrieved and not important to the investigation, that it should have been able to recover it for the passengers. Yeah. And hey, Magic Angel, because the government is running the investigation. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. And hey, Almost Boomercraft, how are you? I can fit my piece in my pocket. 13 plus 1. We're just not going to go there. I always wonder why girl pockets are so small. Yeah, they're kind of useless. They are kind of useless. With this person's post, it's no wonder why people were trying to take their bags. I see both sides because I don't like to leave things either. I don't even like to leave something at the gym when I know I'm going to be there the next day and I'm like, oh my God, I forgot a sweatshirt or something. And I leave it there and I'm like, oh my God. It's like, no, you're going back tomorrow. You have a key. There's an alarm system. You're fine. Your stuff is fine. I can't imagine leaving personal items in a place where, yes, it's restricted, but people that I do not know will be touching my stuff. I have an issue with that. I have a problem with people I know touching my stuff. Sometimes I love him dearly. I have known this man over 20 years. And I still have a problem with Mr. Squid touching my stuff sometimes. I'm like, why'd you move that? Why'd you put it there? Why'd you move it there? It wasn't hurting anybody sitting right there. Why did you move my stuff? So I sometimes have a problem with someone that I've known for over 20 years, that I made a child with, that I live with, that I love with all my heart, that I love more than anybody else except for my child on the planet. Sorry, mom and dad. And I have a problem with that person sometimes moving stuff that belongs to me. I would seriously have a personal space issue with someone. One of the reasons that I don't put shit in the overhead bins on planes because I don't like people touching my stuff. So I don't bring a carry-on that I can't fit under my seat because I don't like people touching my shit. Flight attendants, I don't like them touching my shit. I don't like random strangers that put a bag next to it and shift mine over. I don't like people touching my shit. Personal space issue. It's one of the things when I say I don't people well, that's I don't people well. I don't people well. You say there was $500 in cash in your bag, but we found it empty. Why did you bring an empty bag? Yeah. Because the NTSB has to NTSB. Anytime a plane is involved in anything, the NTSB has to investigate. Also, they not only will investigate just to make sure everything's on the up and up, but they will also look at, this is data. So this is data on how things can be improved. Is there something in the fire system that we can improve based on the fact that it took a little too long to put this fire out? It shouldn't have taken that long. We can improve this. Or they will look at not only what happened, but they will look at anything that could be done better. Doesn't always mean that it gets implemented, as we've seen. But Chairwoman Hamidi is very good at her job. I actually really like Chairwoman Hamidi of the NTSB. She is like my spirit animal. So it's one of those situations of they will look at to make sure everything went according to plan as far as how how ATC handled it. Was the communication with the pilots appropriate? Was there anything going on in the cockpit that they could have avoided? I know that it's self-deletion. It's been ruled self-deletion, but they will still look at these things. They will also look at, and this is morbid, so trigger warning, they will look at what the effects of the human body being ingested by an intake does to an engine. It's morbid, but they will look at what damage was done to see if there could be anything when making engines better in the future that they could, of course, you're not going to make them people proof, but these are things that they look at. So I have seen pictures of a deer going through a prop. I have also seen with my own 2 eyes a bird go through a prop and hit my friend in the face. That was quite possibly the funniest but most disgusting thing I had ever seen in my life. Because she was standing by the door, ready to close the door. Talk about absolutely not a fun experience. I mean, I laughed, but I laughed, and I'm sure everybody else did too, but we also had now things to fix because, we had a bird strike. So we had a little cleanup work to do, switch aircraft on the fly. Medicine tartar, anyone? Yeah, it's yeah. If it was only that easy. No, it was the whole bird. It was like bird in a blender. It was not fun. Now that it's like 20 years later, because this was in 2006. So now this is 20 years later, it's hilarious. But back then, I don't know if it was as funny. All right. So she said she won't be able to get her stuff till Tuesday at their earliest. This was yesterday. I read this yesterday. I read this Monday night. So I don't know if there was an update to this. We will see. I pitched a fit when an agent told me it was my fault. This is the other problem. Turboprop. E2C Hawkeye. That was my jet. Well, my bird. This is an E2C Hawkeye. I was a prop girl. I pitched a fit when an agent told me it was my fault I didn't take my personal items with me off the emergency slide as I was directed, and had really fight to not be charged hundreds of dollars for a new flight home once we got our things. I was finally given a number to call, which was supposed to be specifically for us passengers to get help. However, the number was never set up. It was just a bunch of ads that eventually disconnected. I don't mean to complain about my bags. I'm so grateful that my baby and I are okay and that everyone on board was okay. However, our flight crew did absolutely everything they needed to do. It is clear that they were focused on keeping us safe. Before this all happened, they dealt with a medical emergency when a passenger began seizing as soon as we pushed off. EMTs came on and eventually took the man off the plane. When that was handled, we reset and pushed off again just to make it 3 miles. The Denver crew inside the airport that were working with us were also doing everything they could to run around the airport and find essentials. They were asking superiors for water, snacks, and important needs for us. They came around to check on us and were very kind. It's not Frontier's fault that this happened, and it's definitely not the fault of anyone who is working to help us that we can't get to our personal items yet. The NTSB is in charge of the aircraft right now, so it is what it is. However, I am truly shocked at the lack of emergency preparedness by Frontier as a corporation. Regardless of the circumstances, an emergency is bound to happen at some point. And it was that Frontier corporate had never considered the logistics of a situation like this. You don't say. Mother, would you like to speak on this one? Mom, would you like to would you like to speak on Frontier's emergency preparedness or lack thereof as a corporation? Because I'm sure you have opinions, and when you're ready to tell them, you just let me know and I will tell stories from a gate agent. Ooh, that could be a new series, Painting Mama Squid. Yeah, I know, right? To not have a plan for caring for an infant needs or life-saving medicine like insulin seems like a giant error that could have escalated this emergency further. The insulin, I don't know if it is a Frontier thing. That seems more like a Denver EMS. Why Denver EMS doesn't have insulin, I'm not entirely sure. So my daughter and I are stuck here in California till we get our things and rebook our flight home. I'll miss work and lose wages. Thankfully, we are visiting family so we can borrow most of our necessities. What's most disheartening is that it feels as almost we're being punished for doing the right thing and prioritizing a fast and safe evacuation over getting our things. While our fellow passengers were kind to us and generous with the things they had, it's frustrating to have nothing to feed or change my child with when they sat with their carry-ons, wallets, phone chargers, and entertainment. I mean, I'm sure my mom could start her own channel and just have like hours of stories, passenger stories, corporate stories. Because, okay, I will be perfectly freaking honest with y'all. Brian Bedford is the whatever, the cabinet member that's in charge of fucking, not transportation, but he's in charge of whatever right now. Something. My brain is, yeah. However, Brian Bedford was the CEO of Republic at the time that I worked for when Republic bought my airline and merged it with this airline. So the gate agents that Frontier hires did not even know how to rebook a passenger. The gate agents are a subcontracting company. Oh, now they are. They weren't before. I don't know. Yeah. Story time. All right. Thankfully, all passengers were okay. That's no one's carry-on bags ripped aside and left people stuck in a smoke-filled cabin. Thankfully, the pilot and emergency response were so quick to get the fire out that no one was trapped inside, while so many passengers took their videos and pictures, got their bags, and prioritized themselves over each other. I mean, that sounds pretty accurate. That sounds pretty accurate in 2026 when people prioritize themselves over the greater good. Yeah, those all thanks to Brian Bedford. Yeah, thanks for nutting, asshole. Sorry. So when I say I hate people in government, it's because I knew them before they were in government and they sucked then. So, eh. All right. The individual who caused this incident deserves both my fury and compassion, but until the thoughts of what if and thank God subside, it's mostly fury. Had we been slightly further down the runway, this would have been a true tragedy. That is true. And this is my other thing, and I know this is taking me forever to read, but this is one that when I read it, I had comments, because self-deletion, and that is why my graphic at the beginning, my trigger warning, had the helpline number on it, because self-deletion is real. Like, self-deletion is a tragic thing. But if you are going to self-delete, one, get help before you get that far. But why are you trying to take other people with you? That was a very large aircraft with a lot of people on board. And he could have self-deleted and taken 231 other people with him. So I have compassion. I'm kind of in the same boat as this woman right now. I have compassion for someone who feels desperate enough that that is their only solution. However, self-deletion is self, not 232 people. And I feel bad saying it, that I'm mad at this person. But you didn't just decide to self-delete. You tried to self-delete and take 231 people with you. That is the most selfish thing you can do. And hey, Spawn. So, and generally, it's a permanent solution to a temporary problem. So, it's... Thanks for reading. It was one of the craziest experiences of my life. So much went right in a horrible situation to be here with my baby. Edit, to clarify, it was a customer service agent on the phone, not a gate agent, who told me it was my fault for not grabbing my bags. I thought a few more details that might clarify why the passenger experience was such an ordeal. We were evacuated to the tarmac and told to get back onto the grass. 23,000 pounds of fuel and a smoking engine. Some people were trying to get pictures and ignored instructions there too, but eventually everyone complied. They put us in lines on either side of the plane on the grass and counted us and asked if we needed medical care. We then stood outside Denver for probably an hour or longer, then got on buses and back to the terminal, and that took a long time as well. It was probably 1:30 a.m. when I got back inside. People were surprisingly jovial. It was weird, but it was a lot of nervous energy, of course. Edit 2. One of the 4 hours I spent arguing with customer service yesterday morning was spent with the agent, same one who told me it was my fault, telling me that because I booked with my Go Wild pass, the only flights she would allow me to rebook home are Go Wild flights. And since it's such a mess right now with so many people rebooking, and because the Go Wild pass kind of sucks and is not worth it, good to know, it would take my infant and I 20 to 24 hours to get home from California to Michigan. I was saying that it might be your typical procedure, but this is not typical circumstance. The best she could do was refund me for the $15 I technically spent on that leg of travel, and I could rebook a new seat for the full price. If I refused to accept the refund, she threatened to document so I would not be able to receive further help. $15 doesn't help us get home, and I'm not putting my child through another 24-hour travel day. Like, so many things are wrong with this. Like, this edit too, so many things are wrong with this. Like, story time. I flew from Vegas to Milwaukee on a non-rev. I was on vacation. I had to fly back. And we had a lightning strike. Or, no. Well, we did have a lightning strike. That's not the point. The Milwaukee airport was flooded and closing, so we had to land in Madison. They were busing all passengers from Madison to Milwaukee. The gate agent in Madison had the freaking guts to tell me that because I non-revved from non-rev is non-revenue passenger. I didn't pay because I was an airline employee. I flew on the airline for free because there was open seats. With that being said, they would not bus me from Madison to Milwaukee because I did not pay for the flight. I had to call my boss, which I found out that my phone works from 7,000 feet. Don't tell anybody. But I called my boss and I'm like, here, this is the ramp supervisor in Milwaukee. Would you like to talk to him and tell him that I cannot make it to work tomorrow? Because you won't put me on a bus from Madison to Milwaukee. Have fun with that. Guess who was on a bus from Madison to Milwaukee that night? Just saying. Better bad humor than none at all. I'm lost. Yeah, we have dark humor here. We're like Moe's. We're like Moe adjacent with the dark humor. And sometimes it's yeah. And yeah, I went to Vegas with my mom. And you got stuck on a Southwest flight in Chicago. Yeah, I went to Madison, you went to Chicago. Because we couldn't get on the same flight home. Oh, I did. And I still didn't have to go to work that day because the airport was closed. But, you know, that's beside the point. So it's just, and I'm not going to go through the comment section, but there's yeah, one of the comments says, I hope this reaches a wider audience because what an absolute joke for Frontier to try and say you should have gone against emergency protocols to grab your stuff. I WTF'd out loud at this part of the story. That's unreal. Yeah, me too. And I don't post, no, I don't post on Reddit. I've never actually posted, but if you are over there, I am Ghosty Roses on Reddit. Huh? No, you had a gummy today. But oh, I've held back, but I've been good. Dark, bad humor, I've held back so much. Yes, and I appreciate that. Oh, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. All right. And yes, thanks, Heidel, for the reminder. Thanks to the not sponsor of this video, but one of my. You broke it?
No, broke it.
Blanket?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. Oh, the sponsor of this video, F-Bomb from Tell the Truth. I use this stuff everywhere and for everything. It's helped with my skin sensitivity. It is beef tallow skincare. Oof. Honey and frankincense. Has beeswax in it, olive oil, and honey. It is so good. It is Canadian company. If you are wanting to try it, because I am trying to worry about what chemicals I put on my skin and what chemicals I put on her skin, because there are chemicals in everything. Some fine for us, others not so fine. And I am tired of trying to do my research to try to figure out what is safe and what is not. This safer option. If you go to Tell the Truth and use code SQUID, you get 15% off. Chef's kiss, love it. I'm addicted. I carry it everywhere. And Jeffrey, yes, I do have it by my side, and I made sure it was by my side. So I do keep it by my side. I use it for lip balm, cuticle oil on my eczema. It's helped my eczema so much. Anyway, that is all I have for you guys today. This is an evolving story, and when if anything comes out from the NTSB about what happened with the aircraft, if there is any more updates to passenger experiences, we will talk about it. I do not have a stream set up for this channel tomorrow. I'm only doing Monday, Wednesday, Friday over here. However, Thursday, tomorrow on my other channel, QR code, if you want to scan it, is right there. We are doing a topic about the movements you lose first when you get older and you slow down, and things that can lead to decreased independence as you age, and what to do about it. We are in our movement series over there. Also, I will be doing an impromptu business planning. Help me come up with a business plan because some opportunities have arisen in my 3D world for this whole situation on the other channel. And my corrective exercise certification, I can actually use it. I just have to come up with a business plan, and y'all are going to help me. But Friday, we do have Legally Effed Friday. And one of the things that we will be talking about on Friday is Alec Murdaugh has potentially a new trial because the South Carolina Supreme Court overturned his guilty verdict today because of the clerk of court interfering with the jury. We'll discuss it more on Friday. But for now, y'all have a great day. Let's see who else is live that I can send you guys to. Let's see. Come on. Redirect. Mo in the Deep End. Fact, fiction, or felony? Corey Richins sentencing. Go tell Mo that I said hi, and I will see you guys on the next one. Have a great day.
Bye.